Well, good morning everyone. It's Richard Bauer here for Mercedes-Benz Days Out. And you catch me at the Starbucks at Dreghorn in Edinburgh on the Edinburgh City Bypass. Just catching a quick coffee and a pan of chocolat. On our way down to Moffat again. Called it at Moffat last week, of course, on the way down to Longtown and then Hutton in the Forest for last week's show. This week we're actually going to Moffat itself, to the showground for the Borders Vintage Auto Club for their show, and we'll be actually representing Mercedes-Benz Owners Club, the Scottish section, of course, today. Weather-wise, it's okay somehow. 12.5 degrees on the CLK's temperature display, so just on the borderline of getting the tops off. Do we do it? Do we not? I'm going to decide when we get back outside again. This is always a great show. And there's lots to see here. It's not just a car show, but there's vintage tractors and commercials and military and all sorts of things. So we're going to have a really good day. So I'm going to take my coffee and my pan of chocolat, and we'll decide when we get back to the car whether the top comes off or whether it stays where it is. My suspicions are it might be staying where it is for the journey. It's 12.5 degrees with the wind chill factor is just maybe a step too far. So we'll see. But join us for the rest of the trip. It's going to be a really good day. Loads of things to see. We'll see in a bit. Hello everyone. Well, here we are at the Moffat show. Already met some really interesting people. Had a very quick wander around. And I have to say that the quality of the car exhibits this time is just amazing. So we're going to take you around and show you a few bits and pieces. Really good exhibits from Mercedes-Benz, as you would expect. But we've got the Austin Healey boys just across the way here. Cumbria Car Club just across the way. Seeing AC Owners Club, that'll be interesting to go and see that. I was actually followed in by a deplated red Montego that looked in better condition than when it would have left Longbridge. So I'm going to go and have a look at that, because there can't be so many of those left. I've also seen a beautiful mid-90s S-Classer that was just in front of us as we came in. So I'm going to go and find that. I can see a Lada Reaver over there as well. So yeah, just lots of things. And of course, this is not just about the cars. There's the commercials here. There's a little bit of military as well. I think there's some agricultural things as well. So we'll go and have a wander. We'll start, of course, with the Mercedes-Benz exhibits, and let's go and see what we can find at the Moffat show. So, C240 Estate, that's in really good condition. That's been quite a high spec as well, because that's got the parking sensors on the front of it, and that would have been quite early to have those. And I see the club badge resplendent on the front there, and there's a wee doggy sticker in the back, so obviously good people, doggy people. Oh, look at that. Well, what about that 280 SE K plate? So that's going to be what, early 70s? Fabulous. Left-hand drive as well. Unusual. Obviously unusual to see in the UK, of course, not unusual to see it in Germany. Fabulous car. Well, that's a beast. That's an SL55, so the 5.5 litre V8. that is going to go like an absolute rocket. What a thing. A symphony in petrol and oil and mechanics. Oh, beast number 2 here. C63 AMG, and look at that for an engine. No waste of space in there. That's all engine, all power. And again, just to show that it's not all the classic stuff here, 23 plates, a very, very, very young CLA 200. One of the new designs, of course, of Mercedes-Benz, and just a brilliant, brilliant car. Well, the AMG boys are really gracing us with their presence here today. SLK 171 55 AMG. That is going to go like an absolute rocket. What a thing. The SLK is just so much fun. Be it the 170, the first generation one, which you can pick up for a song, by the way. That's going to be quite an expensive motor, the SLK 55. But that is an utter beast. And as a complete contrast to all the AMG stuff from Mercedes-Benz Insanity Department, here's a gentleman's club, the SL320. That's in gorgeous nick. Let's have a look at the interior on this. First of our members to get the top off. And that lovely grey interior with the dark walnut wood, just gorgeous. Such a smooth car to drive. That's just that is like a 3-litre sofa, just beautiful. And here's a car that's very common in some ways and very uncommon in another. This is Marion and Jamie's R170 SLK 230 Auto. This is the first generation SLK. You can really pick these up for very, very little money relatively now, and they're such a fun car. Got to watch them a little bit for the corrosion, but if you keep on top of it, that's going to give you so much fun and so much reward for not a lot of money. What's unusual about this particular one is the colour. That's ocean white, and they really, really weren't very, very common in Europe with that colour. A lot of the white ones went to America, and it's got the 7-spoke wheels on it as well, so again, it's just an unusual combination. But actually, what a brilliant, brilliant little car, and I know that Marion and Jamie love that to bits. It's a fabulous, fabulous little thing to have, and that's the sort of thing that you can get into Mercedes-Benz for not a lot of outlay. Running costs comparable to any, any medium-sized car. Just a brilliant, really sensible and economical thing to have. Do you know what? On a run, if you drive that sensibly, you're going to get 38, maybe even 40 to the gallon on the run. Parts wise, because essentially most of that came out the C-Class and the E-Class of parts bin. Just a brilliant little thing to have. Just a really, really simple interior, but again, just brilliant fun. And just to show that it's not all about the sporty stuff, here is a 190e 1.8. These sold in Europe and in Asia and in Africa in huge numbers, and lots of them are still out there now. Really solid car, very practical. That one in particular is in really nice nick as well, and you know what, it's going to drive just like the day it was built. That's going to drive as good as most modern cars do now. SL320, so a sensible sized engine. It's not going to be hugely expensive to run.
relatively economical. Doesn't sound like the 5 litre, of course. That'll be a 6-cylinder. But do you know what? When you've got the roof down and you're of a certain age, probably 60 miles an hour or 65 miles an hour is enough. Otherwise, your cheeks end up flapping about or on the back seat. So, plenty of power in there to give you as much fun as you want. And look at this beauty. SL250 Pagoda. Isn't that cream gorgeous? What a thing to have. Condition is really, really good. This is where it all started for the SLs, of course. That iconic steering wheel and the dashboard. Just a beautiful, beautiful thing. We had one of these down at the Hutton in the Forest show last week, in the dark green and the red interior. But this cream one with the black interior is equally lovely, and just such a lovely thing to have. But these are serious money now. And here we have a car that can often be overlooked. CLK 280. So this is the 3 litre V6, and whilst not having the esteem and the panache of the SLs, if you get one in a nice colour combination, and this is the obsidian black with the cream interior and the wood trim. This one's even got the half wooden steering wheel as well. These are just a lovely thing to have. And whilst the SLs are fetching just incredible money these days, ludicrous money, you can get into a CLK, a decent one, probably less than £2,500. This particular one, this is mine. So maybe I'm biased a little, but this one's mine. We have done some bodywork again, like the SLKs. You've got to watch them for corrosion, particularly front and back wheel arches. It's had some engine work as well. The V6s, the 280s and the 350s suffered from the balance shaft issues. We're not going to go into that because it's been well documented loads of times on the internet. It was a major problem. So this car actually has been re-engined with a much later engine. The car itself is a 2006, the engine is a 2009, by which time Mercedes has actually sorted out the balance shaft issues. So, you know, this car has done 182,000 at the moment. Everything works, drives like a new one. This is my daily driver, and you know what? It just makes me smile every single time you turn the key. Just a lovely thing to have. And you can get into Mercedes with a CLK or an SLK, but if you need the slightly bigger CLK, and again, in many ways this is a completely different car in character to the SLK. This is much more of a cruiser. It's a GT car. It's a Grand Tourer. You can find one of these in decent nick. You're not going to spend a lot more than £2,500 on a decent one. A really good one with the 3 litre or the 3.5 litre engine that's been really looked after and fettled. It's going to cost you probably somewhere between £5,000 and £6,000. It's only when you start getting to the big cars, the big engines, so that the CLK 500s and the AMGs, where the prices start to go astronomical, and quite rightly they are a breed apart. But Mercedes doesn't need to be the bottomless pit that everyone thinks it is. You can keep these things on the road for no more than you would pay to keep, you know, an old Volvo or Audi or VW or whatever on the roads. They're not expensive to run if you source your parts from the right place. Well, this is us wandering off the Mercedes-Benz stand and just going around the various other car clubs. Currently on the West Coast Classic Car Club stand, and here we've found this magnificent S280 S-Classer. Beautiful colour, great condition. That's just a lovely thing to waft around in. What a brilliant thing. 2.5 tons of Teutonic magnificence. Look at that. What a brilliant thing to have. And again, you know, for a car that would have been pushing £100,000 when it was new, you can pick these up now for relatively not a huge amount of money. Well, on the Border Reavers Classic and Modern Car Club stand, we've just run into this magnificent C43 AMG. That's going to go like stink. What a piece of engineering that is. And the colour is absolutely gorgeous, and it's in phenomenal condition. What a beautiful thing to have. Just come across this on the Perth and District Classic Wheels Group, and in a sort of tribute to the S-Classer that we've just seen, here's basically the Japanese equivalent. This is the frankly, even as magnificent as the S-Classer is, this was a very close, well, I don't want to say copy, but let's say tribute to the S-Classer. This is the Lexus LS400, and one of the very few times that Japan has looked at German engineering, and I would maybe even argue made it better. That is a phenomenal thing to have. M plate, and look at the condition on it. That's just magnificent. What a thing. I hope somebody really drives that. It's not kind of put away in garage and cosseted. I hope somebody really drives that and enjoys it a lot, because that's a really lovely thing to have. Here is a wonderful display of Aston Martins, and loads of really phenomenal iconic cars there. Haven't seen James Bond though, it's rather disappointing, but the cars kind of make up for it. Well, I normally wouldn't stop just for an individual car that wasn't a Mercedes, but I have to say this has stopped me in my tracks. This is a Mark 1 Astra GTE, and I'm absolutely astonished at the condition of this. It literally looks like it's just come off a production line. That's in fantastic condition, and it's an absolute credit to whoever owns that. That's what a brilliant example. And there's always certain things that just make you smile at these shows, and for me, and everyone's has their own personal taste, of course, but for me, this is one of the things that makes me smile every time. This is the Figaro, the Nissan Figaro Owners Club. The Figaro, based on the Nissan Micra. They didn't make them for very long, but it's this very typical Japanese 1950s retro movement. This one's even got the Japanese plate on it. Look at that. That's brilliant. So based on the Micra underpinnings, but just, I mean, so much fun, one of these things. There's not many of these left, unfortunately. The Nissan had a very short production time with these, but the owners just love them, and you can see why. It's such a cute car. And whilst, I mean, I certainly wouldn't have this as a daily driver, it's just a cute thing to have. I mean, look at that interior. That's brilliant. Look at it. well over in the commercial section now, and I'm sure for the Scots viewers, the name of Tunnock's Tea Cakes needs no introduction, but for those of you who haven't enjoyed these magnificent little things to have with your afternoon tea or coffee, it's basically kind of a combination of a marshmallow and a wee biscuit and a little bit of jam and covered in chocolate. They're absolutely delicious, and what better way to move your Tunnock's tea cakes round than in that magnificent van. Look at that. Look at the telephone numbers on it, just 2 digits. How brilliant is that? Fantastic. I'm here at the Sporting Bears Motor Club, and these guys are absolutely brilliant, and if you're ever at a motor show and see them, please do go and say hello and put a little donation in the pot for them. This is just a great idea. It's a charity, it's a children's charity, and the idea is that these guys turn up with some lovely cars, as you can see, the Porsche there, Fiesta ST, or Focus ST, and the Mini, drop top Mini. Good to see the tops off. And oh, look at this magnificent Rolls Royce here. These guys do something very special, and the premise of the club is to offer members of the public basically a dream ride in a very, very special car. That means that you get the chance to have a little ride in something really nice, and then maybe something that you would never have the opportunity to take a ride in. And at that point you make a donation to the Sporting Bears Club, and that goes into the children's charity. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal idea, and I wish them all the best in that, because that's just such a brilliant thing to do. Well, you'll have gathered already that the Mercedes boys who have got the convertibles, we're always eager to get our tops off, but I was absolutely stopped in my tracks by this, and I've never seen one like this, and there's a good reason for that. It's because there's only 2 in the world. This is a Vauxhall Viva. Vauxhall never made this in a convertible, but there were 2 apparently converted by a company called Crayford in Cologne round about 1967-68, that sort of time, and I have to say they've done a fantastic job with it. I mean, that's as good as any factory convertible from the time, and probably quite a lot later as well. The provenance on the car is really good. I was talking to the owner, and he's had it in the family for about 18 years, and I have to say, I mean, you can just see with the amount of people who are just browsing and looking at that is literally stopping people in their tracks. What a brilliant thing to have. One of the things about doing these car shows when you're a certain age, like me, is you come across cars that you remember as a kid being absolutely massive. And here we have the Rover SD1. Not sure what the engine size is, I'll go and have a look a little later. But you remember these as a kid being absolutely huge, and you know, it's about the size of a modern Focus. You kind of do look at that. I mean, there's here we go, look at this magnificent Jag, and again, so much smaller than you remember it being. That is beautiful, have to say. What a thing. Lovely, lovely Mark 1 Golf. And again, look how small it is compared to the modern Golfs. Carmen cabriolet conversion, and really interesting and very pertinent little sign in the window, which I'll show you now. Very funny but very true. Well, we've caught up with that lovely red Montego that I mentioned at the start of the this episode. That is in fantastic nick. Really good. Vanden Plas, of course, is the top of the range at the time. On a D plate. I wonder if that had the electronic voice, the sort of kit Knight Rider voice to tell you what's going on. Maybe. I really don't know. But I notice it's for sale as well, and I tell you what, whoever gets that is going to have a lot of fun in that, because that is in such good condition. The interior is really nice as well. I had a look. The camera can't. We can't really show you because of the reflection on the windows, but somebody is going to have a lot of fun with that. What a brilliant thing! Well, according to Jeremy Clarkson, these are the most beautiful cars in the world, and I have to say, I don't think he's wrong. A display of Lancias here. Stratos. I have to confess, I've no idea whether that's a reproduction or a real one. I've absolutely no idea. It's way out of my comfort zone. But even if that is a reproduction, what an amazing thing. Integrale here. I mean, they did make some stunning stuff. Let's just take a look at this red one. Look at that. I mean, they were beautiful. And everyone's so different. The Lancia boys, very proud of what they have, and rightly so. That's a really nice display. Well, here's a pair of MGFs with their tops off, quite right too. We've just about got away with the weather today. It's been grey and blue and grey and blue and grey and blue, but we've got away with it, I think. Yeah, good to see the convertibles and the cabriolets with the tops down, enjoying at least the dry weather. Well, that's the end of another day. We've got away with the weather, just about. 4:15 now. Most of the exhibitors have gone. The guys at the Auto Jumble, they'll all be packing up, and it's time to go home. That's been a really good day. Seen lots of things that we've not seen at any of the Scottish shows before, so that's been a really good thing. Great to see the Lancia boys here and the Aston Martin boys, but it's not about the exotic stuff. You know, good to see Mark 1 Cavaliers here, that Mark 1 Astra GTE, which was in such good condition. You know, the guys bringing the Moggy Miners, it just makes you smile. The Nissan Figaros, again, that just, you know, it's stuff that just makes you smile. So one of the brilliant things here is in the Mercedes-Benz Club here in the south of Scotland. No one cares. You know, you can have your little SLK that's cost £1,000, or pontoon that's cost 100,000. Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. No one cares. You could have as much fun with a really inexpensive car as you can with a really expensive car. And that's one of the things that I hope that you take from these videos is the fact that this is not some, you know, some old boys club that you've got to be a millionaire to be part of, because absolutely that is not what this is about. This is about a lot of normal, everyday people trying to keep these old Mercs on the road, frankly, for as little money as possible. And if that's a trip to a Mercedes-Benz dealer for a part, or to the factors, or to the breakers, or to eBay, or whatever, doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. All we want you to do is enjoy your cars, enjoy your days out, and keep these iconic, brilliant cars on the road. So I'm heading home now. It's nice enough to keep the top off at least for a little while. Got about 2 hours to do back up north of Edinburgh. Next show is 2 weeks time at Glams, and that is always a really big show. I mean, it's a seriously big show. So we will look forward to sharing the day with you then. In the meanwhile, enjoy your cars. All the best. Take care, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks' time at the Glam Show. Bye for now.